Okay, in this video we're going to have a bullet race. So we're going to compare the smallest of the cartridges, the rimfires, and we've also put in the 22 Hornet as the first step up into the centrefires. These are the rifles I'll be using. The Bruno 22 K-Hornet. We'll fire both the standard and the K-Hornet cartridges from that. Savage 17, a Fieldman 22 Magnum, and a Bruno 22 long rifle. So what I'm going to do is synchronize the shots so they're fired at the same time, and film it on a high-speed camera, which will play back at 80 times slower than normal, so you can see the relative time between being shot and being hit at 50 yards. So that was much as expected, except the Hornet, which was quite slow. There's a few reasons for this. First, it was the heaviest bullet of the lot. It was 45, where the rest were 40 and 17. It's also quite an old cartridge, so the Hornet, in factory loads, is loaded quite mild for the older rifles, which were chambered at quite a lower pressure. In this case, it's also a fire-formed case, so we're fire-forming the case up to the K-Hornet, and also got a case rupture in this case. The neck of the case cracked, so all of this combined is going to drain some of the velocity. Let's run another race. We'll put the 22 Magnum up against the 17, again at 50 yards against a brick. So that was 20 times slower than normal. At that range, the 17 seems to have a little bit more punch than the 22 Magnum, as we'll see in the steel tests next. So it's surprising that the 17 will punch straight through the steel. That's 3mm steel. Yet the 22 Magnum will just weld itself to the surface. 17 also punches a much bigger hole. It's much bigger than even 22 caliber hole. So it must spread out quite a lot before punching through. Let's compare some of the Winchester 22 long rifle cartridges. We have the Subsonics, the power points, which are high velocity, and the Xpediters, which are some of the hypervelocity they call them now, which are quite old. They're only 29 grain compared to the 40 power points and the 42 grain Subsonics. So again, as expected, but this way you get a visual reference, not just a number on a chronograph. You may also notice the different point of impact for the bullets. That's completely normal for shooting different cartridges through the same rifle. So you're better off picking one brand of cartridge and one type and sticking with it if you want to maintain that accuracy. So we'll do the same with the 17. This time we'll double the range out to 100 yards, and we'll compare the 17 grain Hornady V-Max against the 20 grain CCI gamepoint. So there's not a lot of difference, and I suspect if we double that range, the 20 grains might even take over the 17. That's because the heavier bullet in the 20 grain, I haven't checked the figures, but I suspect has a higher sectional density, better ballistic coefficient, so it'll pass through the air a bit easier and hold its velocity better. But over the shorter ranges, the 17 grain will hold a flatter trajectory and hit a bit faster. This is the CCI range of 22 long rifles. So we have the Subsonics, the Velocitors, and the Stingers. This time we'll synchronize it so it hits at the same time instead of being fired at the same time. So you can see the faster bullets catch up to the slower ones. So that was only at 25 yards. So you'll see the Subsonic only punched a hole through the bottle, whereas the higher velocity Velocitors and Stingers blew the lid off, as well as blowing quite a large hole in the back. Well, that's it for this movie. If you thought I forgot something or left something out, you wanted to see something else, leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to add a like if you enjoyed the movie. Subscribe if you want. And watch out for the next one.